right, so those are the stories that made the front page of the papers this morning. I have a guest in the studio, and we're talking politics this morning. Talking to me for the first time this year, 2023, I think for the first time in the last 2 years, as a matter of fact, is Mr. Wale Fakbunda. Wale Fakbunda is a popular one when it comes to MITV Star FM in the last couple of years, but decided to pay us a visit after abandoning us for quite a while again. But let me just quickly reel out part of his profile this morning. He's a legal practitioner with over a decade of experience in commercial practice and extensive litigation services. He's also a public affairs analyst and the convener of the Green Alliance movement. Quite a number of people have seen the green t-shirt and the fair scarf all over Lagos. The Green Alliance is a Nigerian-based, non-partisan and non-governmental organization. It's a content and concept-driven entity established with the sole objective of galvanizing the collective minds of the Nigerian citizens towards building synergy in selecting leaders of good repute with the capacity of delivering the dividends of true democracy to Nigerians. We welcome Wale Fakbunda to the Bumper Breakfast this morning. It's a pleasure.
Thank you very much, Tomisi. It's good to see you again.
Good to see me. Yes, especially when people run away from you and then you get to catch them, as in there's what they call catching. You just hold them like this. Like, yeah, I've gotten you to my studio this morning. But how have you been?
Oh, well, we've been fine. We've been doing well. I've been trying to navigate the waters.
And I must say that the last time we spoke, there was a bit of fracas. I remember it was sometime in 2000 and maybe early 20s or late 2019, when we're talking about the FIRS bus leaving, and we're talking about so many of the other issues that had happened in Nigeria since then. So, in your candid opinion, how far have we come since 2019 till date?
Oh, well, as a country, I think there'll be a mixed reaction in terms of the efforts of the government led by President Muhammadu Buhari.
Yes.
You know, to change the Nigerian situation, you know, from what we have always been. You know, there have been tremendous efforts. That has been noticeable. Okay, it's still a work in progress, and when I say mixed reaction, I'm also saying that we as Nigerians have not fully appreciated the fact that we have a role to play in the nation building process. We need to also be sincere with ourselves. We need to, I think, trust our government more, while also washing with cynical acid some of the things they said they would do. But by and large, I think we're a work in progress. The last time I came here, I think, was a build-up to 2019 election. Yeah, during that period. And so, I mean, you will recall that most of the things that we said then that pushed us to say we're going to support the re-election of Buhari.
President Muhammadu Buhari.
Yes, I mean, some of those things are becoming more manifest now in terms of the infrastructure. I remember very well at this studio I talked about the second Niger Bridge.
Yeah.
I mean, it's obvious to everybody now.
And now they said they're going to commission it in October.
Yes, I also remember I talked about the Lagos-Ibadan Rail.
Definitely.
You know,
They're being completed.
Yes, I talked about the Lagos-Ibadan Expressway. So, a couple of all of this infrastructural intervention, you know, and then I also talked about diversification of the economy very well. I remember very well I talked about it in terms of paying more emphasis on agriculture and all of those things. So, I mean, we're beginning to see some of those things manifest now.
But it looks as if, despite the fact that it has manifested, a lot of people are still disgruntled about the performance of this government. In terms of, yes, good policies, they say, yes, they say good infrastructure, but the man at the lower rung of the ladder is not feeling the direct impact of this.
Yes, I said rightfully so. I mean, people, first of all, people have the right to express what they feel.
Yes.
And if you are not also feeling the impacts of all the things that we've mentioned now, it's also correct for you to say, I'm not impressed. But like I told you, I said it is work in progress.
Yes.
So some of these things, especially the massive investment in infrastructure, it will only take time for all of these things to begin to manifest in your economic lives, you know. So yeah, so it take a bit of time, I mean, for it to manifest in your economy. And I'm going to give you a practical example. So for example, the Lagos Ibadan Rail, for instance, that they're doing, I mean, by the time it's come up in full-fledged, and then the effect of it begins to become manifest in
Yes.
our economic lives. The person that's the very lower rung of the ladder in the society then begins to see that, okay, I work in Lagos, why do I need to live in Lagos where the rent is very high? And so I can then live in Ibadan and then work in Lagos. So those are the practical things that we're talking
we hope
about.
that we will get to.
Yes,
At
yes,
some point.
yes.
Let's not derail from the purpose of our conversation this morning. We're looking at the idea of zoning for the 2023 general elections. And you're a lawyer. Nigerians have continued to say it is just fair to just adopt the zoning formula. And then a lot of people have also come out to say, hello, it's not written in our constitution to zone any position, as it were. And then others are responding and saying it's a gentleman's agreement, but it's not written in the constitution, they keep saying. So it looks as if we keep going back and forth, and this has contributed to the the disgruntled feeling from some parts and some citizens of Nigeria. So let's first of all look at this constitutional thing. Zoning is not in the constitution, is it?
It's not.
So where did we get this idea from?
Okay, so there is nothing like zoning in our constitution.
Yes.
In terms of which zone will provide
What?
There is nothing like that in the constitution. So, but again, there's the general saying in jurisprudence class back in those days that law is made for man, not man made for law. And so what I'm trying to say is that the legal framework of a particular society must also be bent,
Yes.
to adjust the reality of that society. And so if you look at the Nigerian nation now, we are multi-ethnic, multi-tribal, multi-religious, and
The complex people.
yeah, very complex.
We're just
And we are
complex.
not yet there to that level that we trust ourselves so much. We are not yet, quote and unquote, advanced to see all of these zoning issues as immaterial. And so it is also important to make everybody have some sense of belonging. And then, at this level, of our development, we are going to get to a level that all of those
It
things will
won't
not
matter.
matter. And then the president can come from one family, and then everybody will care about it, because at that time, the narrative will be the most important thing in governance. What is this person going to be able to offer to us? But at this stage that we are now, coming from, we've had a civil war, it looks like, for instance, the rest of the country do not trust a particular part of the country, and then the Hausa man also is looking at the Yoruba man and saying this,
This guy is too cunning for my life.
yeah, so all of those things, I believe we are going to get past that level. But for now, it's important that we make everybody comfortable. And so that's why I think it's important to still do some kind of rotational, presidency and government officials for now.
But then the principle of the federal character, is also there.
The principle of federal character is in respect to government appointment, and that principle of federal character is under a particular section or portion of the Constitution that talks about fundamental objectives and directory principle of state policies. And it in itself is not justiciable. So when I say it's not justiciable, it's not a right that anybody can go to court to go and enforce.
No wonder people have not been going for litigation.
So it's totally different from what you call the fundamental right in Chapter 4 of the Constitution that is justiciable. So fundamental objectives and directory principle of state policy, stems its root from the United Nations International Convention on Socio-Economic Rights. So basically, those things are not justiciable. It's just persuasive that we should look at this. But that's also limited to government appointments. It doesn't talk about in terms of elected leaders. So when we are talking about elected leaders, we should try as much as possible for now to ensure that everybody gets a sense of belonging.
As far as the country is concerned.
Yes, it helps our unity for now. For now. Yes, we are going to get to a point. I believe we're going to get to a point in this country. I don't know when, but that those things become totally immaterial.
I like the fact that you said we are going to. You're optimistic that at some point our unity is not being so threatened right now.
Exactly.
Because as we speak, you're looking at so many parts of the country threatening to break away.
Yes.
How many days ago was it Go released? And people say, oh, victory, blah, 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 blah. And then you're looking at people clamoring that Nnamdi Kanu be released. A lot of people are talking, they're saying, oh, yes, he's fighting for their rights, blah, 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 blah. Ohanaeze Ndigbo is demanding, the Middle Belt Forum is demanding for something. Everybody has a demand of some sort. In your opinion, you are well-traveled, you've looked at the situation. Which side of the country should this go? After all, the Middle Belt are also saying, and I'm talking now about the North Central, they're also saying, we've never been president. Meanwhile, the Southeast is saying, we've never gotten to that position. I remember that they've been Senate President, Pius Ayim. I remember that we've had a Middle Belt Senate President as well. We've had a Vice President from the Northwest. We've had from the Southwest. We've had a President from the Southwest. We've had a President from the North. We've had, but the North Central right now. We've had from the South Side. The North Central right now and the Southeast are both saying it's our turn. Where do you swing?
Okay, so here's my view about this. Like I said to you, speaking as an intellectual, my view should be the best person should get it. Okay, the best person that Nigerian can produce, yes, should be the president of the country. But like I also told you, that it's also important because of our current stage of development that would bring everybody along.
On board.
So against that background, I think it's important to look at the Igbo-speaking part of the country. I'm not so much persuaded by Southeast, South, Northeast, Northwest. The truth of the matter in Nigeria is, look, a Yoruba man is a Yoruba man, even if he's from Kwara State, which is North Central, So are you telling me now that if Kwara produces the next president, for instance, are you telling me that the Yorubas would not have a feeling that is our son that is there, for instance? Because most of those guys that are there speak Yoruba language. Okay? So I think we need to go. I understand the wisdom of those that created geopolitical zones.
Yes.
But I think it's more important to look at it in terms of the language that people speak. That is what
divided by that language.
Yeah,
and so Hausa speaking, Fulani speaking.
So the Igbo speaking parts have been feeling very, very much alienated and marginalized. So we think, I have a particular candidate that I want. Clearly, you must have seen from the activities of the Green Alliance. I have a candidate. I'm just fortunate that that candidate appears to fit into the agitation right now. That look, Igbo speaking part.
Because I know that you actively campaign for the Buhari Oshiba youth ticket.
Yes, I do. Because I want the progress of my country. And I'm saying, although we're not there yet, but we're saying.
But you're seeing it, as in, are you catching a glimpse? Because how then do we trust your judgment? Because we're not seeing what you're saying.
I don't know. I've given you practical examples.
You give us examples, but like we established, the fact that Nigerians are looking at it with, they're not looking at rose-colored tinted glasses. They're looking at it with their koro eyes like this, and they're saying,
No, these are things for us to see. It's very difficult, to get something concrete that would satisfy everybody at the same time. But I've just told you, I mean, in terms of being alive to its responsibility, mistakes have been made, don't get me wrong, but in terms of being alive to its responsibility as a government, the government has, you know, done what they could do. They have still, you know, there's still a number of catch-ups to do. You know, there's still been a number of dropping of balls, but they've done quite, you know, a lot that is commendable. And so my view now is that, so this government is rounding off. Now, I looked at every other person, and then I said, look, the Igbos are feeling, the Igbo-speaking part of the country are feeling marginalized, they're feeling alienated, most especially after the experience of the Civil War. So it looks like they've not been completely integrated
Back into the country.
back into the country. So while that in itself has not been my main persuasion, my main persuasion is merit, then I found someone in the CBN governor, current CBN governor.
Who has served?
Dr.
I think he has served across board. He has served Jonathan.
He served Jonathan.
And he has served Buhari twice.
Yes, he's under Buhari now. So that tells you the level of competence, you know. So, and I found a man in Dr. Godwin Emefiele. Now, fortunately for me, the man fits into the agitation of let's have an Igbo man. Interestingly, I was reading about him. I mean, I've not even met him. That's the God honest truth. But interestingly, I was reading about him. I also understand the man speaks Yoruba like normal business.
I think he very much spent a lot of time in Lagos.
Yes, so I think, I mean, this man, and I've been reading about him a lot in terms of what he's done as a private banker in Zenith Bank PLC. In 2012, this man he led the bank as the MD CEO to achieve 100 billion naira profit after tax.
Wow.
Yes, in Zenith Bank, the records are there. And so as a private banker, he's done a lot. And then also as the governor of the Apex Bank, there have been a lot of, you know, intervention. The truth of the matter is this: we would have been in a very terrible shape as a country if we do not have people like Emefiele handling our monetary policies, because we've had quite a number of turbulent times, you know.
But then I see that people are calling this morning to be a part of the conversation. As you can see on the screen is SMS, WhatsApp 208064738133. You get to contribute. I know you have questions, or possibly you want to just contribute to the conversation. Just simply send a text message or a WhatsApp message to the number right there on the screen. But then let's come back to this conversation. I like the fact that we're talking about Emefiele, because the youth are not happy with Emefiele.
Who are they not happy?
Some of the policies that he came up with, for example, the issue of cryptocurrency, is something that affected quite a number of people. And it looked as if this man is all out to get us, this man is all out to get us, and all that. Now, this is a policy that was acceptable to everybody in the other parts of the world, especially in the developed nations. But then he came up with this, and then the speed with which he implements, releases these letters, and then implements these policies makes people mad. A lot of people are angry, upset. So as far as they're concerned, it's more like, as far as money is concerned, this man does not want us to have money. So you see, a lot of young people will be saying, that man that did not allow us to trade in coins. Oh, that man that finally came up with you know, the issue of his own coin, and Nigeria now has his own, you know, e-naira and all that, just in a bid to get us not to trade crypto. You know, these are some of the things that would make youths say, it's not a man for us. And you are saying some of these policies have rescued Nigeria. Can you explain?
Okay, first of all, I mean, there are a lot of misconceptions out there. Crypto wasn't banned.
Okay.
So it was the banks being used as intermediary that was, you know, restricted.
Okay.
So people need to get the narrative right. So the question then is this: why would the CBN come up with a policy that the banks should be restricted? You see, Nigeria is not the US. Nigeria is not.
How do you mean?
I'm coming, I'm going somewhere. Nigeria is not Canada, Nigeria is not the United Kingdom. Nigeria is an emerging economy, okay? And the CBN in its wisdom looked at it that if we allow this thing unrestricted, there may be some kind of downside on our economy. Okay, so I mean, yes, a section is happy, with this, but what is the overall effect on the economy? That is very critical for any leader, in decision making. And so, what we should be doing, for instance, now, the policymaker can come up with a policy that will affect business A, but if you look at the philosophical underpinning of that policy, it's for the general good. And so some youths are unhappy. Yes, it's normal that, oh look, this is
a lot of them.
Yes, this is happening. But I can bet you, at the end of the day, it is for the general interest of the country, because Nigeria is an emerging economy. If anything goes wrong, the effects will be really, really catastrophic. And so that's why they says, you know what, the bank should restrict, the banks being used as intermediaries should be restricted.
So basically, you're saying that it wasn't that crypto itself was banned. It's more like don't use the bank as an intermediary.
Yes.
Because I know quite a
Yes.
number of people are still trading crypto.
Yes, of course.
I'm not letting your secrets out on international. Don't worry. I know you people are still trading crypto. I'm just saying that you're not using the banks to trade.
Yeah. So when the time is right, some of these digital banks, they will leverage on digital technology, and you will see that all of these things will become favorable to the business people and to the nation as well. I mean, when the government, for instance, I'm going to give you an example. When the government, for instance, decided to say we're going to ban importation on rice,
Yes.
a lot of people were very angry. Do you understand that? What kind of policy is this? But the government says, you know what, we need to be self-sufficient as a nation. We need to be able to feed ourselves as a nation. Now look at it today.
We're still eating imported rice.
No, well, I'm not saying you are not eating. I don't know where you buy your raw rice from.
But what I'm saying is, it's in the market.
But what I'm saying today is that, I mean, look at
It has
the
boosted
testimony.
agriculture.
Exactly.
I
And all of those
accept
things, at the end of the day, by the time you begin to export, it reduces the pressure on your local currency. And once you reduce the pressure on your local currency, your currency can then be able to compete. I mean, people always talk about the price of dollar is high, Look, number one, dollar is
Because
not...
that's where I'm going.
Yeah, because number one, dollar is not your currency. Dollar is not our currency. What is our currency?
Then we trade against it.
It is naira. Okay, so now, if you need dollars, okay, which means you want to fit into a particular lifestyle. Okay, so you need to look for your dollars. Now, the way it can then work is for you to, as a nation, do things that will strengthen your own local currency. So, but what do we export in Nigeria apart from crude oil?
But Nigerians, you see, one of the things that I love about us is we're a unique set of people. We listen only a little bit, but we are very stubborn people. We do what we want to do. It's not a calling show. You can do SMS or WhatsApp. I know that we don't like typing. I know, and we type shorthand a lot, but do me a favor, wherever you're watching us from, try not to call the line, just do a WhatsApp or a text message to the line to be able to contribute so that we can get your messages. But if you keep calling me, I'm not going to pick you. You get the idea. And then we're talking about economic policies, and if I look at the economic policy that Nigerians are again, much angst about, it's this idea that you just mentioned, the dollar to the naira. Dr. Godwin Emefiele has been clamoring for the devaluation of the naira. Despite the fact that Dr. Bismarck Rewani is also one person that has been talking about that for a while, he doesn't seem to agree with some of the economic policies of the CBN governor. They're both economists, they're both in their field, but it doesn't seem to particularly be on board with some of these policies. And now, to the average Nigerian, I'm looking at it from the outside. They both said the same thing, but then they are not agreeing. And then our naira keeps dipping against almost every other currency in the world. How exactly is this supposed to be beneficial to us?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying to you. I mean, in terms of the economists being disagreeing on, they are economists. I'm not an economist, I'm a lawyer, but I'm looking at things from the practical viewpoint. I deal with evidence, so I like to give things a human face. And it is very simple. This is simple economics. What is it that is going to strengthen your local currency? Exports. Exports. What do we export in Nigeria?
Crude.
Crude.
Only.
After crude, what?
Nothing.
That's the point. So you need to get, you see, naira is 500 naira, dollar is 500 naira, dollar is 600 naira, and all of those things. There is no magic that can be done. There is no magic. If you look at it from time in Nigeria, it's always going up and going up and going up and going up. Why is it so? Because we have not taken steps to diversify our economy
And sell more
and then begin to export more
to the rest of the
to the
world.
rest of the world. That is what will make your currency
Oh, we
competitive.
export something else. I've
What else?
forgotten. People. Yes, we do.
I'm talking about what you can sell to the world. We don't do slave trade anymore. So what I'm saying is this. So what you can export to the world, that is what will make your currency strong. It's not something that, look, you can't blame the CBN governor because, okay, now, look at it this way. The price of your crude oil, your main exports, it crashed. Okay? You had COVID that disrupted all forms of economic activities worldwide. Okay? And then you expect the price of naira to have the same value as the dollar has. It's not going to happen. So people need to be realistic about their expectation. There is no way you can do it. Go and bring the president of World Bank. Go and bring the best economists in the world. Let them come and man your financial system and formulate monetary policies for you. As long as you do not export, you cannot. It's not rocket science. That's why when I look at these economists and then they speak all their I said, look, this thing is basic. It's basic. It's simple. It is straightforward. You know, produce, exports, your currency will be strong.
Let's go back to the issue of zoning and the idea of getting a candidate from the Southeast. Do you honestly think that even if we get one, we will be able to find a man? I know you have one, but we'll be able to find a man that will be acceptable to the entire crop of Igbo people.
Yeah, that's why I said to you that I do not want to talk about the geopolitical zones.
Yes.
I would rather categorize people based on the language they speak. Okay, so that's why I said the Igbo speaking extraction. You know, so I think Dr. Godwin Emefiele, for instance, I mean, fits into, you know, the general acceptability amongst the Igbo speaking people. If you really look at it in terms of geopolitical zone, it's from the south, it's from Delta State, you know, but it's from Agbo, you know, Ika South, and then so it's not your general southeastern person based on your political zone. So so it equals the tension, you know, from that side up to up to across the Niger, you know. So I think it's going to be accepted amongst them. I mean, I also know that there will be one or two other people, or three other, or four other people
that will come out,
that would
including the just removed governor of the south of Ebonyi State.
Well, I mean, I'm sure it's going to the Court of Appeal. So they've given him work to do. So I'm sure he'll keep himself busy for a while.
So he won't be able to come up.
I mean, right now he's a little shaky. So, but I mean, I wish him best of luck. I also think my personal view in terms of legal understanding, I think the judgment will not stand. I think it's a wrong
They said it's
decision.
a can of worms we do not want to open.
Yeah, no, I think it's a wrong decision, but that's my view, and this is legal.
From a legal point of view.
Yeah, from a legal point of
Let's
view.
take some messages before I let you go this morning. While you're not being realistic, this one says, please, when you send us a message, put your name and put the place you're sending it from so that we know what part of the country you're watching from. You're not being realistic. You're true. Okay. You said after selling the country to the Fulanese, you are completely tribalistic and like, let's remove this sentiment from the system. With Emefiele, it couldn't control the monetary policy by allowing the oh my God, try to be civil, because now I'm skipping so many lines in the message and I really cannot figure out how to clean it in such a way that it's acceptable for television. Right? It's basically just, I'll just read the end of it. It's saying we need intelligent people in leadership position, and I'll just leave it there.
Okay, so this person says I'm being tribalistic. I don't know whether, I mean...
Because you supported the Buhari ticket and then go back here.
And I'm a Yoruba man. What does that make any... How am I being tribalistic? I'm supporting the best for the country. The last election I supported an Hausa Fulani. Now I'm supporting somebody that speaks Igbo. And then I'm being tribalistic. I'm a Yoruba man, so I don't understand. Okay,
your name is Wale Fakunda, you're from Malaysia.
Yes, I'm from Malaysia, so I don't know why, how being tribalistic has come in. I've said, look, I don't have any affinity. I'm just saying that based on what I've seen, I think this person is the best. Fortunately for me, the person fits into the agitation for power shift to that side of the country. That's all.
All right, this one says presidency and zoning formula. You see, this country, they like to fool the Nigerian populace just to achieve their goal in governance. Even if you bring an angel to this country to rule, it will make the same mistake others have made. Zoning, that is the biggest mistake this country is making. We have people of integrity in law to draft a new federalism to rule this country instead of a unitary system that we're practicing right now, which I think is a waste of time and encourages endemic corruption. God bless the Nigerian state. Thank you for saying God bless Nigeria. I think that's something we need to all say right now as we talk about our their country. We should keep saying God bless Nigeria. Okay. Good morning to Missy. I think Dr. Godwin Emefiele didn't get the macroeconomic policies of the CBN right. More African countries spend dollars just as they spend their local currency. Yes, I agree with him that we need to export more, but we can stabilize the naira if the CBN stops selling dollars to few Nigerians. Dollar is up in Nigeria because of the ordering and not just because of the failed or low import. Okay, this one says Speaker Larry from Lagos. Okay. Okay, it is good that the APC zoned the presidential slot to the south, but the CBN governor has not come out to declare his intention, unlike Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu. For those who were conversing for Yuma, they sure the man is interested. Hussein sends that one in from the north.
Do you want me to respond to that?
I'm not sure if you want to respond, but let me just take all the messages so that you can respond at once and then we can round off the conversation. Okay, I welcome the concept of zoning. This one says Ayola from Charles from Mayobo, Lagos. Nigeria needs a holistic restructuring constitutional amendment that will accommodate all our expectations. It seems the country belongs only to the north and others are aliens. Nigeria needs leadership that's inclusive, economically oriented, and competent to deliver. Emefiele isn't the kind of person to leave Nigeria having politicized the banking system. Okay, that one said. Please, I think you should respond while I.
Okay, so I mean, whether the man is interested or not, for now we don't know, but we're just trying to see how we can persuade in terms of drumming support for him to run. It's clearly important for us to have a technocrat. It's important for us to have a technocrat. People that think he's not done well as a CBN governor are probably not in a position to appreciate the kind of economic dilemma the country has been in for a while. I mean, if you look at it, what interest does the president, and the National Assembly, what interest do they have to leave him there even after he served an opposition? So, in Nigeria, all of us are...
That's a good question.
All of us are professors and
Yes.
professors of economics, so we speak too much English in this country, and that's part of our problem. You see, the man was there and he was brought in by an opposition,
And kept there by another opposition.
and they kept there by, and then that should tell you something about the man. For those that
Maybe we just describe him as a good team player, a cerebral person.
No. Yes, of course. He's a good team player. He's a cerebral person. He's a technocrat. And we need to get to the point that we move away from conventional politicians and bring in technocrats to run the affairs of the nation.
I want to say...
I also say that we are lucky that he also fits into the agitation. I keep saying
You
that.
keep saying that. Thank you so much to Wale Fakunda for joining us on the Bumper Breakfast this morning. We're talking women next on the Bumper Breakfast, and we're discussing the hidden pains of a Nigerian woman. And you see, this time around, I have two women firecrackers in the studio who will be talking to me. But just as I take this break, let me celebrate Jerry Omole, who is one young man who decided to do something differently, have men and women learn the act of playing the saxophone, taught them, and then celebrated them giving gifts. Let me just say thank you for the intense training, trying to create opportunities and job opportunities and a means of income for young people to keep them busier. I want to say thank you to you, Jerry, but of course, let's listen to him at that event as we come back to the